Hi everybody, I'm Jack and this is Raw Tropical Living, and I hope everybody is ready for an amazing, wonderful, powerful week. How y'all doing today? The week off to a good start? You got your mind in the right place? You're going to do it this week? You're going to step forward? All possibilities. I know it's just a day of the week, but we kind of do use that day of the week to denote a beginning, so let's make it a good one. I was thinking about gaining weight on the high carb, raw vegan lifestyle this morning, and I was thinking about all the videos I've watched on the subject, all the posts I've seen about the subject, and I'm always a little bit skeptical when I hear people talking about, complaining about, saying, you know, they're gaining weight on the high carb or raw vegan diet, or they can't lose weight on the high carb raw vegan diet. And then a lot of times if it's a YouTuber and you have a video, they tend to go into some sort of explanation that's very much some sort of a kind of a weird body alchemy, and it's just so convoluted that I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? It's like, you know, there are different things going on in the body on a high carb vegan lifestyle, but some of the stuff that we know from the past still exists. It still counts in there whether people want to believe it or not. Calories in. You can't just eat unlimited calories, and you know, depending on your activity level. I know some people just want to go with that method of just eat anything and everything, and somehow the body's going to magically go through this process, and then you'll be able to eat 10,000 calories and still lose weight or not gain weight. But no, I kind of think you do have to kind of keep an eye on the calories. The reason I'm always skeptical, I kind of use my mom. Like, I remember my mom's situation, and I just kind of relate it, even though it had nothing to do with you know, the raw vegan lifestyle. My mother was always overweight when I was a kid, and you know, now that I'm an adult, well, she lost weight probably about 12 or 13 years ago, and it hadn't have a weight problem in a while. But as an adult, and especially now being interested in health, I always think, and I'm like, well, why was my mother overweight like that? My mother's 5'7". I think she told me at her heaviest she was close to 200 pounds. I'm like, my mother wasn't the typical Southern mother. It wasn't like she was frying everything. It wasn't like I didn't see her overeating. I didn't see her eating huge portions. It wasn't like she was pigging out all the time. My mother actually gave me a lot of good background for this lifestyle, even though she struggled with weight and I struggled with weight as a kid, because she gave me a love for, you know, my grandparents had a garden. My mother was always getting me to eat fruits and vegetables. So even though I did a lot of bad stuff, somehow that was still ingrained in my head, and I've always liked fruits and vegetables. Well, not getting off the subject too much here, but what I found out, and I think, you know, through my mother's experience and through a lot of people's experiences out there, it was in the snacking. It was in taking a bite here. It was in eating one of these. It was picking. It wasn't necessarily sitting down to these big, humongous meals. But the point being is, I can go back now and I can see, okay, yeah, this is what it was. Calories are calories. It doesn't matter if you're taking them in. If you're like, you know, if you're around the house and you're fixing food and you're a homemaker and you're making food a lot, I'm sure it's easy just to take bites all the time, and those bites add up, especially depending on what it is. You know, if you're having something extra fatty, you can take a bite that gives you 100 calories. So I think that's what's happening with a lot of people in this raw vegan lifestyle, in the high carb lifestyle, that say that they're gaining weight, say that they're not losing weight. I think somewhere in there, if we really just clinically analyze them and we're able to see exactly what they're taking in their body, exactly how much energy they're expending, i.e. exercise, I think it wouldn't be that much of a mystery. I don't think it would be like, well, I just can't understand. I think we'd be like, okay, well, 3 days last week you had this, you know, and you're like, oh yeah, well, I didn't think about that. And you went out, you know, a couple of nights a week, you went out and you had a couple of glasses of wine with your friends, or this or that. In other words, I don't know what it is, but your particular details. And I just think like 95% of the time, that's what you're going to find. And that's where the problem is. And it's not in some sort of something going on in the body that just won't allow you to release the weight. Now, there are people out there that do have problems like that and are not easy losers. But what I want to get at here, though, is they're probably not easy losers under any circumstance with any diet. I think I can say, listen, I guess you've got to figure it out. I try to never be a know-it-all, and I don't say a whole lot of things with authority because I don't know for sure, but I would imagine it's kind of depending on, it has nothing to do with raw. If you're gaining or losing weight, it's what are you eating? How many calories are you taking in there? And I think the person, like, if you're having a hard time losing weight on raw, and you're truly having a hard time losing weight on raw, you would have a hard time losing weight on whatever you're doing. I don't think there's something that distinguishes it and makes it extra hard on the body. Or I guess what I'm getting at is I don't think that the high carb vegan lifestyle or the raw vegan lifestyle are something that's just going to naturally cause you to gain weight. So when people do that, where they're like, the high carb vegan lifestyle is causing me to gain weight, they kind of look at it like it's a culprit. And I'm like, no, I think what you have to look at is in the application. Once again, like I say, sometimes we're dealing with sensitive issues when we get into talking about losing weight or even gaining weight. We tiptoe around the subject. We're afraid to probe too much because we might hurt some feelings or whatever. But sometimes people just have to be realistic about what they're doing, and they have to look at it without any emotion in there. And you just have to look at it and say, yes, this is what's causing me to gain weight. This is what's causing me not to lose weight. Yeah. As far as the calories go, people ask me all the time, like, if I count calories. I've gotten pretty good. I know like the basic amount of calories in most of the foods that I eat, and I guesstimate throughout the day. And believe you me, if I can attest to this one. I know my weight very well. I don't weigh a lot, but I don't weigh myself a lot because I don't have a scale here. But there is one in town that's coin operated. Now, I don't know how exactly accurate it is, but the point being is I use the same scale all the time. And believe you me, sometimes I do it just to see if I I have a week where I've been a little bit, I haven't been as thoughtful about what I'm doing. I get a little busy. I'm not as well prepared. And what happens with me is my weight's going to drop because I miss, and it's not a lot, but it'll add up. Maybe I miss 300 or 400 calories a day during busy times or whatever. Now, if I miss 300 or 400 or 500 calories a day for 4, 5, 6, 7 days, I'll lose some weight. It's very easy for me if I'm not paying attention all the time to be like, damn, I lost a couple of pounds. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't get my food in this week. So, all I can do is extrapolate from there. Like I've said, I'll repeat for, the 999th time just because everybody may not have heard it. I was overweight as a kid. I dropped that weight, before I got into high school, but I was still kind of chunky and I was still looked like kind of a big football player, but I wasn't like tight, solid, all over. And I always had to struggle losing weight. Raw vegan, nada. I really have to, I can't stress that enough, that since I go to the gym, I want to put a little bit of size back on, not a lot, but just a little. I have to be paying attention all the time. That can actually be a pain in the ass. And actually there's days where I'm kind of like, you know what, I'd like to kind of go 3 days and not eat so much, but I like to keep my weight up. So anyhow, to finish this one off, if you're having a struggle with the weight thing, whether it's you're gaining weight or you're not losing weight, be real honest with yourself. You're not doing yourself any favors, by doing anything other than being honest with yourself. Excuses, you're never going to get there. I'm kind of like I say, I'm just a straight person. It's like, I'm at point A, I want to get to point B. What is the quickest way to get to point B, or what is the best way? I don't mean like the quickest, but the most safest, most effective, but the best way. But anyhow, before you try to go to explanations, like maybe it has something to do with your thyroid, your metabolism, metabolic damage, whatever, really look to how you're eating. that's where I'll bring in, to finish this one up, the food journal once again. If you are gaining weight, if you're not losing weight, the food journal is key. And you must put down every freaking morsel that you're putting in your mouth. You don't forget anything. You put everything down. It's in front of you, black and white. You can go through there, you can tear it apart. If you've got it in black and white and you've gained weight, there's no ifs, ands, and buts there. Then it's just a matter of going in and tweaking and saying, okay, well, these 3 days of the week, that didn't serve me. You know, that's probably, that hurt a lot. And every single day, and it might be one habit every single day. You're like, every day I do that. Maybe if I don't do that every day, boom, that eliminates this. But anyhow, hope you guys like this video. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. Hope you'll subscribe to the channel, and I wish you a beautiful, happy, healthy week. Peace.